15354, or you can email us on camelcollege@gmail.com, or also you can visit our offices at Kiogoro, which is 5 kilometers from Kisii town along Kisii-Kilgoris Road. Camel Park Driving School, shaping dreams on the wheels.
A very good morning wherever you are watching us from. Today being Wednesday, that is 11th of February 2026, and we are getting closer to 14th. Of course, there is a lot that people are planning for the same, and of course we might not get off planning for you as well. And you are watching us from our live studios, and this is the Morning Bus from DZTV Africa. My name is Jeff Nyakundi, and of course my director is Lucas Oma. Welcome to our newspaper review this morning, and of course the trending stories and what has been happening since yesterday. And be with us on our social media platforms. We are live on our YouTube channel and as well as our Facebook page. You can be able to follow us as DZTV Africa, and of course you can be able to talk to us via our SMS number, that is 21575, and you can be able to give a shout out to those who will be commenting and of course sending the SMSs concerning the stories that have been going on. And of course there is a lot that has been happening. Of course some of the member of parliament from the area that is in Nyamira County and other areas yesterday, and of course since Monday, and of course the good part of yesterday, they were going around doing the checks on the works that is going on for the national government, and of course some of them that they have done through the NGCDF, and of course we'll get there later on. But for now, let's have a look at the trending, actually the newspaper review, of course from the Standard newspaper, the Daily Nation, the Star newspaper, the People's Daily, Taifa Leo, and as well as we'll have a look at the Business Daily. And of course as we kickstart our day from that is the Standard newspaper, there is a lot that has been discussed there. Of course what the president or the government is busy doing, and of course other people more so from the northern part of the country is suffering. Actually the northeastern part of it, people are suffering from hunger, and of course they have no food. The droughts there are hiking day after day, and of course their cattle have died because there is lack of water, and of course the sun is so scorching, and of course other people are even eating what we call some of the tree barks, and of course some of the leaves from trees for them to sustain themselves from the hunger, and of course the strain of the strong sunshine in the area that has made the area to be dry, and even their cows and of course their cattle, including that is generally the cattle, the sheep, and of course goats, even camels, dying of hunger and lack of water. And when we are looking at it here, they are saying that Ruto splashes millions, Kenyans stare at the death. There are three photos in this newspaper today, and of course we're going to be able to see the president having one of the activities of the launch of the Nyota Fund to young people in some areas of the country. And the other side, a little bit down of it, we are seeing when he was having the meeting at State House with the member of UDA aspirants. And of course, on the other side, we are seeing a picture that really, when you look at it, you can be able to see how people are suffering from the other side of the country. And that is the part of northeastern part of the country. And you can be able to see there's a mzee there lying down, just staring at, or if I can just mention, waiting in death because there is no food, there's no water, there is no any other way out. But on the other side, the government looks like it has abandoned their own by doing or splashing money, millions of cash to other parts of the country, and of course not having it in mind that there are people, there are other people in the country who are really suffering. And that is a story published on page actually on page 3, 4, and 5 of the Standard newspaper. You can have a look at it, and of course you can be able to read more on what is going on there. And it's really a devastating condition. Seeing people from different areas of the country, more so the northeastern part of the country, having or staring at death, and other of course the government has done nothing so far to try and help those people in the area. As much as we have heard that there are plans that the deputy president spoke, saying that there are plans that they are going to, or no, Kenya is going to die out of anchor in that area. As we are seeing, we are waiting to see what the government is going to do and the mechanism that they will be using to ensure that all Kenyans from that area who are suffering, of course, from the drought, they are going to get the food and of course water for their survival during this hard time, and of course the dry season in the area. And elsewhere, let's have a look at the Daily Nation newspaper. And of course, from the Daily Nation newspaper, there is a lot that has been discussed there, more so from the Senate, Parliament, and the County Council or the Council of Governors. Of course, we have seen what the chair, person Hamed Abdullahi, who is the Council of Governors chairperson, and of course there is what the Speaker of the Senate has spoken, Bwana Hamason Kingi. But before we get there, they say there that unholy alliance. Unholy alliance. Monkey business, governors attack rent-seeking members of parliament, which counter which counter that the guilty are afraid of scrutiny. Of course, what the MPs are saying, and of course what the Council of Governors and of course the governors themselves are mentioning out, and of course what the Senate is speaking. Here, the chairperson of the Council of Governors, Governor Hamed Abdullahi, is saying that we narrowed down our issues to one committee, and certain members of that committee, Senate standing orders require that if certain people are mentioned, they step aside from that committee. I have written to the Senate Speaker seeking an audience with the leadership of the Senate. Whatever evidence governors have, we are going to table. Something is going to change in that particular committee. Talking about what is happening in the county allocation committee that is seeking answers from the governors who have been entrusted with the taxes or the common mwananchi's funds to ensure that they do development in the county government, but they have not done some of them. And they are saying that they are being humiliated by some of the members in that committee, and to ensure that they are humiliating them politically, and others asking money for them whenever they are appearing before that committee. Elsewhere, the Senate Speaker Hamason Kingi is responding, and is saying that the Senate notes the purported demand by the Council of Governors for the reconstitution of the County Public Accounts Committee on the basis of claims of political witch hunt, harassment, extortion, and intimidation allegedly involved 4 unnamed members of the committee. While the Senate remains open to structured dialogue, recourse to mudsliding and, of course, unsubstantiated allegations in the media unsupported by evidence is neither appropriate nor conducive to intergovernmental cooperation. And of course, kwa Kiswahili unasema kwamba nipe nikupe kati ya magavana na maseneta pale, mwaso on the County Public Account Committee that has been mentioned of extortion, political witch hunt, harassment, and of course intimidation of the governors who appear before the Senate to explain on how they have used the money that they have been entrusted with from the national government. And that is a story that is published on the Daily newspaper and given the heading Unholy Alliance. It's something that of course, in the politics, people do say that they're used to such a kind of things, but for this instance, it's an unholy alliance that has been created in the Senate. Elsewhere, and maybe that story is published on page 4 and page 5, and there is what the author has just written down there, that a bribery scandal that has sparkled a bitter feud between governors and senators exposes the underhand dealing and conspiracy to defeat accountability. Governors are afforded to name and shame corrupt senators who they claim extort bribes to go easy on audit queries. An extortion racket they admit have thrived for too long, but senators have dared county bosses to make good their threats to snap watchdogs committees, questioning why governors would pay bribes if they had nothing to hide. Who will blink first? That is a story published on page 4 and, of course, page 5. We're waiting to see who is going to step up first, and, of course, the governors to give the names of the ones they have said that the 4 committee members, they have been harassing them more so politically, and to ensure that whenever they are giving that bribe to them, then they will go easy on the questions that or the grilling that happens at the county. Actually, on the Senate committee, that is the County Public Accounts Committee. And of course, we are waiting to see what is going to happen between the two teams. That is the one which is claiming that it has been intimidated, and of course the others. And here the question the senators are asking, if you know that you have nothing to hide from the money that you have been entrusted to do a project with, why then are you making noise? And that is, if I've just put it in the common way that you can be able to understand our viewer. And elsewhere, other stories that have been published on the Daily Nation, of course, that story of the Senate, of course, the Unholy Alliance, you can have a look at it on page 4 and, of course, page 5 of the Daily Nation. Elsewhere, what we are seeing from on page 6 is that Gachagua takes on Ruto over drought ahead of the tour. That is former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has accused the government of delaying emergency response to drought ravaging northern Kenya, even as the cabinet approved release of 4.1 billion to help the affected region. An estimated 3.3 million people are facing acute food insecurity, with the cabinet cautioning the figure could rise to 3.6 million. And of course, that is a story published on page 6. And the picture that we are seeing there are some of the cattle, of course, are cow there, and of course, the community members next to it. And that is a photo that an emaciated cow at a village near Magadi town in Kajiado County that was taken on 5th February. And of course, that is a story published on page 6. Of course, yesterday, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua had a presser, and of course mentioned, of course, went over or takes on Ruto on what he terms as the president or the country or the government has not done what's supposed to do ahead of the tour that is planned to the northern part of the country, and that is a story published on page 6. Elsewhere, on page 2, there is a story there talking about the health report warns that 166 billion shillings deficit could sink social health authority. And of course, an analysis by the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, shows that 166 billion deficit could cripple the social health authority. Remember, there have been a lot of issues, more so from the opposition and of course other members who are supporting the government on the issue of the social health authority. Others saying it is working and others saying it's not working. More so the government affiliated members of parliament and allies, they are saying that currently the social health authority is working on, and others, they say that it is not working. Why? It is because maybe whenever a common mwananchi goes to hospital, may be requested to pay for the whole year for him or for her to access the services, and of course other hospitals, including the private hospitals, not giving the services under the insurance of the social health authority. And now there is another report that is showing that there is a deficit of 166 billion shillings that could make social health authority to sink, and that is a story published on page 2. And also inside there is a special pullout on the school transport solution and financing options that you can be able to find inside the Daily Nation. Elsewhere, of course, on page 7 is that ODM crisis talks after Uhuru Azimio's move. That is talking about the crisis talks after Uhuru's Azimio move. And of course, today they are having a meeting at the coast of the country, that is Mombasa. And with the deepening power struggle between factions led by the party leader Oburu Oginga and of course the Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, ODM leaders convene in Mombasa to discuss contentious issues, and the National Executive Committee meeting comes amid reports that Dr. Oginga on Monday sought to stem an imposition following an allegedly successful rally in Busia by the rival camp. And of course, the meeting will also discuss the political coup in Azimio coalition staged by former President Kenyatta. And that is a story published on page 7 talking about the ODM and of course the politics and of course the leadership in that party. And we have seen we have the two factions, one led by the party leader, that is Dr. Oburu Oginga, and the other faction led by Edwin Sifuna. And of course on Sunday they did a successful meeting or rally at Busia County, and that showed how they were pointing fingers to the current regime, that is the current government, and of course the current leadership of ODM. And let's wait and see what will come out from that meeting that is happening today in Mombasa. Maso trying to close the gaps, and of course the factions between the leadership of that party. And from that meeting today we'll be able to see what is going to happen and what they are going to agree to do. Those are some of the stories published on the Daily Nation this morning, and of course the one that has been given more energy here is talking about the unholy allegations between the county bosses and of course the Senate. And we are going to see what is going to happen between the two actually the two alliances, if I can just call them like that, because we are having one mentioning that they are being intimidated, that is the county governors or the county bosses whenever they appear before the Senate committee. And of course the senators saying that it's because you are not doing what's supposed to be done. And that is a story you can be able to read at page 4 and page 5 of the Daily Nation. Let's have a look at the Star newspaper. And the Star newspaper here, they are saying that there is a quiet Bush to replace him with Governor Otuoma. And who is this who is going to be replaced with Governor Otuoma? This is Edwin Sifuna. They are saying that Oburu team plans to kick out Sifuna in Mombasa meeting. And of course, that meeting is happening actually today. That is why I've just earlier on mentioned from the Daily Nation that let's just wait and see what's going to come out from that meeting. That the other side or the other faction is pushing Edwin Sifuna to be out of the party. And it is said that this Secretary General post will be given to Governor Otuoma, Governor Paul Otuoma. And of course, we are waiting to see what is going to happen after that meeting. And that's a story published on page 6 of the Star newspaper. Elsewhere, it is a story that, of course, yesterday was also published, talking about the sorrow as 4 brothers down in Kisumu village. Of course, the 4 brothers who drowned in an open, of course, a pit that was used to get the moram from it, but it was supposed to be closed or was supposed to be, of course, returned. Of course, ilipaswa kuhakikisha kwamba imefunikwa, but it was not. And now the boys drowned one after another, and of course, both of them died. And of course, they will be taken, of course, they drowned in Kisumu village, and after, of course, their bodies were retrieved and, of course, taken to the morgue, awaiting post-mortem and then the burial. And of course, we are seeing those photos of the 4 boys, those who were rescuing their bodies, and of course, their family there, talking about that was an anguish of a deceased sibling, Hirar Ochieng, who was 80 years old, Chris Brown, who was 10, Winnie Otieno, who was 11, and of course, Kerry Otieno, who was 12, Kwari, where the 4 siblings drowned in Kisumu, Kanyakwar area, Felix Otieno and Serene Akinyi, the parents of the children who died in Kanyakwari village, Kisumu Central Sub-County. That is a very devastating story about, you know, you are with your kids and then one day you wake up without them completely, and it's because they just drowned in that quarry. And of course, the quarry was supposed to be enclosed, but some people didn't do that. I don't know due to what, but I don't know if it is, you can say that it's negligence or something that happened, and that's a story published on page 25 of this Star newspaper. Elsewhere, on other stories on page 10, we are seeing that they're saying that tug of war in the court stalls compensation for violence victims. That is Sketch or Diambo Oyora, a survivor of the 2007-2008 post-election violence in Kisumu, had given up hope that the same could acknowledge his suffering. He is a former parliamentary candidate for the CCM party in Muhoroni, that is Muhoroni constituency, and talking about the tug of war between the court stalls compensation for the violence victims, that is from the 2007-2008 post-election violence. On page 4 and of course page 5, there is a cold hunger, disease and death talk street families, and at what they call as Tatiana, a new sleeps in dignity in the corner of Nairobi's Langata Cemetery. She is the latest tenant of the city's public graveyard from Mathare. She was just 17 months old. Tatiana was born with a heart defect to Damaris Osunta, a 26-year-old jobless single mother of 2. And that is some of the stories that, of course, the street families would they undergo from the cold, hunger, and of course disease and death stalks the street family. There's a story published on page 4 and of course page 5. On top of this newspaper, that is the Star newspaper, they're talking about the voices, and that is a story from Frederick Okango, saying that can Azimio change leadership without unanimous consent? That is a question being asked there, because that is a voice of the Mwananchi, and of course what they are saying that if can Azimio change leadership without the unanimous consent, that's a story published on page 16 of the Star newspaper. And of course, elsewhere, talking about business and of course trading. Yesterday, the Nairobi Securities Exchange Bank on Safaricom stock up to grow market participants, that is to 30 million. That's a story published on page 12. And of course, we saw the president was there launching the CD app, that is the Safaricom or CD together with Safaricom when they are doing business together. And of course, what the investment that will be done directly from your phone and using the M-Pesa app. And of course, we saw there is a lot that was discussed there. There is a lot that, of course, the government figures that were there. The president was there, the cabinet secretary for treasury was there, John Mbadi, and other key stakeholders, including the Safaricom CEO. And this is a lot that they discussed, and that is a story published on page 12 of this Star newspaper. Elsewhere, let's have a look at the People's Daily. And the People's Daily, on page 4, there is a very interesting story published there. It's all about the politics, and of course the photo that we are seeing there is of the opposition leadership, that is the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, Martha Karua, Fred Matiang'i, Eugene Wamalwa, and of course other opposition chiefs in that. And here they are talking about the 2027 blueprint. What they are trying to find out is the blueprint to the 2027 general elections. And here they're talking about beyond the outrage. Can opposition move past moments that generate temporary political heat and craft their own terrible grassroots narrative? That is a question being tabled there. And of course, the whole story is published on page 4. Remember, yesterday, in some of the newspapers, they were talking about there is a retreat between Rigathi Gachagua and of course, the Kalonzo Musyoka of the Wiper party. And of course, they are trying to come up with a strategy to unseat president. That was from yesterday's newspaper. And today, they're talking about beyond the outrage. That is the 2027 blueprint. Can opposition past movements that generate past the moments that generate temporary political hit and craft their own retirable grassroots narrative? That's a question, and that's a story published on page 4 of this newspaper. And on top of it, there is a story there published on page 7 talking about corruption rises in Kenya as the anti-graft fight loses momentum. Of course, there is a lot of issues and cases that are rising more so on the corruption in the country. And the agency that is supposed to be fighting it seems to be losing some momentum in doing that. And that's a story that is published on page 7 of the People's Daily. And on top of it, actually on the bottom of that newspaper, there is what they are terming as what is causing disorder in Ruto's Western Kenya campaign team. And of course, talking about the Western region, and what has been seen to be that the Ruto or the Western Kenya campaign team for President William Samoei Ruto. And the question is, what is causing disorder in Ruto's Western Kenya campaign team? Is a story published on page 6 of the People's Daily. And those are some of the headlines that you can be able to find on People's Daily. And then you can be able to grab your newspaper and have a look at it. And of course, talking about the beyond the outrage, that is the opposition, and that story is published on page 4. Let's have a look at Taifa Leo. And Taifa Leo, there is a lot of stories published there. We're so talking about wanafunzi hewa. Wanafunzi hewa walitafuna shilingi bilioni 5. Shule 26 zilibainika hazitoi huduma za elimu kwa watoto kutokana na kufungwa au ukosefu wa walimu. Na bila shaka hilo lilipelekea serikali kupoteza, ama wanafunzi hewa walitumia shilingi bilioni 5, pesa za serikali ama pesa za mwananchi wa kawaida. Hapa anasema kwamba Uhenda wa Kenya wamekuwa wakipoteza takriban shilingi bilioni 5 kila mwaka kutokana na takwimu zisizo sahihi za usajili wa wanafunzi shuleni, kulingana na ufichuzi ambao ulitokana na ukaguzi wa kudhibiti wanafunzi uliotekelezwa na Wizara ya Elimu kote nchini. Ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa pili. Na pesa hizi si bilioni 5 siku zote, ni bilioni 5 kila mwaka. Imagine now in the education calendar, let's say 2026, we're gonna lose 5 billion to unseen students who are not existing anywhere. Na hao ni wanafunzi hewa. And then this happened because some of the schools zilifungwa kwa sababu hasina wanafunzi wa kutosha, ama zilifungwa kutokana na ukosefu wa walimu. Hakuna walimu kabisa wa kuatende hao wanafunzi. Sasa wakaona kwamba ni kufunga shule, lakini kumekuwa na mgao ambao umekuwa ukitoka na pesa hizi zinaingia katika mifuko ya watu. Na swali ni je, pesa hizi zimekuwa zikiingia kwa mifuko ya kina nani? Why this? Until now that the Ministry of Education has done some investigation, has carried out the checkings, wamefanya ukaguzi na wameidhinisha ama wamefanikisha kwamba shilingi bilioni 5 kila mwaka huenda zinapotea kwa sababu ya wanafunzi hewa ambao wako. Ikiwa kwamba ni takwimu za usajili, kuna shule ambazo hazitoi takwimu za usajili kamili. Kama wako na wanafunzi 10 pale wataandika 100. Kama ni wanafunzi 20 wataandika 200, ili hali pesa hizo zinaendelea kutoka na kutumiwa vibaya na asionekani ni kazi gani zinafanya na zinapotelea kabisa. Ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa pili. Na pale tunaiona upande ule mwingine hapo katikati, unaona ni picha ya darasa ambalo liko na madawati na viti, lakini hakuna mwanafunzi hata mmoja. Na upande mwingine tunamuona waziri wa elimu bwana Julius Migoso Gamba, na pale tunaona darasa pita wanafunzi katika mojawapo ya shule nchini, na ukaguzi uliofanywa na Wizara ya Elimu ulibainisha kuwa wanafunzi hewa walitengewa mamilioni ya fedha kila mwaka. Imagine every year the country is losing 5 billion to non-existing students. Elsewhere, vidokezo zaidi ni kwamba Baraza Kuu la ODM kukutana leo. Ni kwamba Baraza Kuu la ODM litakuwa linakutana leo pale Mombasa kujadili mivutano inayozidi kushika kazi ndani ya chama hicho cha ODM. Ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa pili. Na vidokezo zaidi ni kwamba ziara ya Ruto kaskazini ya zua taharuki. Aliyekuwa naibu rais Rigathi Gachagua ashambulia vikali rais Ruto kabla ya ziara yake kaskazini leo, ikiwa kwamba ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa 3. Na rais anatarajiwa kuzuru maeneo ya kaskazini mwa Kenya, na pale hiyo jana alishambuliwa na aliyekuwa naibu wake wakati mmoja. Na kushambuliwa kwake ni kwamba amewaacha watu wa eneo lile la kaskazini mwa Kenya kuteseka, jua kali, kiangazi, wanyama ama mifugo yao wameaga dunia, na bila shaka hakuna chakula, wengine wakitegemea matawi na matunda mwitu kuwa hai. Ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa 3. Kwingineko tukivuka mipaka hadi nchi ya Uganda ni kwamba waziri atetea mwanasiasa Bobi Wine. Waziri wa habari wa Uganda ashtumu jeshi kuvamia nyumbani kwa kiongozi wa upinzani Robert Kyagulanyi ambaye anafahamika kwa jina la utani Bobi Wine, ya kwamba mwaka huu Januari Uganda kulipigwa kura, na kura hizo ambazo zilikumbwa na utata mkubwa, zikionyesha kwamba mtandao ulifungwa, na bila shaka kusema kwamba wale ambao walikuwa wanaipinga serikali ama wapinzani, baadhi yao walikamatwa, ikiwemo kuvamiwa kwa nyumba yake kiongozi wa upinzani Robert Kyagulanyi, na bila shaka yeye alitoweka akajificha mayupo mafichoni, lakini familia yake ilionekana kwamba mkewe alipata kuwekwa chini ya ulinzi wa majeshi wa nchi ya Uganda pale kwa siku kadhaa. na bila shaka basi waziri wa habari wa Uganda basi atetea Bobi Wine, huku akishtumu jeshi kwa kuvamia nyumbani kwa kiongozi wa upinzani, taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa 8. Upande wa juu kabisa wa gazeti hili la Taifa Leo ni kwamba katika ukurasa wa 3 kile ambacho tunaona pale ni kwamba Maria binti ya Michuki hatarini, alihitajika alipe madeni kabla ya kuuza kampuni ya Flexi Air Charters Limited. Taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa 3 kwa kwamba mali ya binti ya Michuki hatarini na kile ambacho alifaa kufanya kulipa madeni kabla ya kuuza kampuni ya Flexi Air Charters Limited. Taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa 3. Kumbuka kwamba John Michuki aliwahi kuwa waziri wa uchukuzi hapa nchini Kenya, na katika serikali zilizopita, serikali ya Moi na bila shaka serikali ya Mwai Kibaki, wakati huo akiwa kwamba ni waziri ambaye alileta mageuzi makubwa, lakini sasa binti yake yumo hatarini, mali yake yamo hatarini kutwaliwa. Upande mwingine ukurasa wa 20 ni kwamba ni taarifa za spoti. Pale Manchester City kukaribia Arsenali ligini, huenda Man City leo wakapunguza mwanya wa alama kati yao na vinara Arsenali. Ni kiputo ambacho kitakuwa kinachezwa leo hii, na baadaye nitakuwa nikikufahamisha ni timu gani zile ambazo zitakuwa zinacheza leo na gani zilicheza jana, ni akina nani walishinda hiyo jana. Lakini ukipata gazeti hili la Taifa Leo utakuwa unaangazia masuala hayo ya michezo katika ukurasa wa 20 katika gazeti hili la Taifa Leo. Kwa kwamba hayo ni baadhi tu, ama hizo ni baadhi ya taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika taarifa ama katika gazeti hili la Taifa Leo, huku lile ambalo limepatiwa kipaumbele kwamba ni wanafunzi hewa walitumia shilingi bilioni 5 na shule 26 zilibainika hazitoi huduma za elimu kwa watoto kutokana na kufungwa au ukosefu wa walimu. Na pesa hizi zinastajwa kwamba kulingana na ripoti ambayo imetolewa ni pesa ambazo huenda zinapotea kila mwaka sua hapa nchini Kenya. Na kwingineko, let's have a look at the last newspaper, that is the Business Daily. And of course, the Business Daily newspaper here, it's talking about what was launched yesterday, about the new M-Pesa trading app takes 55% of shareholders, and of course the mobile money platform handlers 7,962 out of the 14,300 orders, and investors can now buy and sell stocks via their phone. And of course the story done by Kefa Muhiruri. On the photo we are seeing there, we are seeing the Treasury CS John Mbadi. Of course we are seeing other leaders from the region, and of course we are seeing President William Samoei Ruto there. And here they're talking about more than half of shareholders at the Nairobi Bourse on Monday were transacted through the new M-Pesa platform, underlining the power of the mobile money services bringing retail investors to the market. Safaricom data shows that 7,962 of the 14,300 orders for the sale and purchase of stock were directly processed via M-Pesa, marking the first time investors were transacting in the shares without going through the stock brokers. And this is they're talking about that M-Pesa gave, of course they're saying that this gave the M-Pesa stock platform, known as CD Trader, a 55% share of the stock transaction, with an analyst saying that its performance was limited by $500,000, a cap on the mobile phone transaction, and CD Traders, however, accounted for 2.0% of the value of the shares traded on Monday. ahead, of course, something that happened on Monday, and that's a story published on page 2. And from the photo, we are seeing President William Ruto rings the bell during the launch of Safaricom ZD Trader at the Nairobi Security Exchange. That is yesterday, and of course he was flanked by from left the Treasury CS Cabinet Secretary John Imbadi, and Nairobi Security Exchange Chairperson Kiprono Kitonyi, Treasury Principal Secretary Chris Kipto, and of course the Capital Markets Authority Chairperson Ugaz Mohammed. From the photo that we are seeing there, that is the President and other leaders from the Nairobi Security Exchange, of course the Treasury CS, and of course the Nairobi Security Exchange Chairperson and other leaders that who were present during the launch yesterday. And elsewhere, when talking about the monetary policy, now that the CPK, or the Central Bank of Kenya, cut the benchmark loan rate for the 10th straight time. And of course, there is a story on the bottom of that is the Business Daily newspaper, where they're talking about the Central Bank of Kenya has reduced its benchmark rate for the 10th time in a row to encourage lending to private sector, and the CPK cut the rate to 8.75% from 9.0% previously, and of course said the decision aims to support earlier measures designed to stimulate credit growth, and of course it brushed aside an appeal by the bankers lobby to hold the rate steady and avoid disrupting the transaction of the existing loans of the new risk-based pricing framework this month. And of course, they're talking about 8.5%. That is the new benchmark rate set by the Monetary Policy Committee. And those are some of actually the stories concerning those people who are trying to get loans from different banks in the country, and of course what they need to know about the new benchmark rate that have been set aside by the Monetary Policy Committee. And elsewhere, let's have a look at the ticker and see what is there. And from the top is that the MGas parent firm eyes 3.4 billion carbon credits raised by June. And of course, the UK-based parent company of the Kenyan cooking gas distributor, MGas, aims to raise more than 3.4 billion from carbon market by June this year. And that is a story published on page 6. Elsewhere, pension funds in riskier assets score higher returns. Of course, pension funds that allocated a bigger share of their assets to acquire and offshore assets secured a return premium of up to 4 percentage points in 2025. A story published on page 14 of this newspaper. And elsewhere, we are talking about on the top of this newspaper, on the exchange rate, of course, on Monday and Tuesday, still it remains the shilling versus the USD, that is the US dollar. It still remains at 129.02. That's how it was on Monday, and that is how it was yesterday. And the exchange rate is 0.00%. And on page 9, there is a story there published by Nderithu Muridhi talking about the intelligence. The execution is the disciplined process that turns strategic vision into reality by aligning resources with goals. That is a story published on page 9 by Nderithu Muridhi. You can have a look at it. And lastly, on the live, that is page 19, talking about they're talking about no lilies these Valentines. Lovers seek alternatives. Of course, talking about we are approaching Valentine on this week on Saturday, and here they're talking about there is no lilies this Valentine. Lovers seek alternatives. And what are these alternatives? Grab the Business Daily newspaper and have a look at it. What are the alternatives? By the way, remember, of course, concerning the Valentines that is coming, the government or the CPK gave a ruling that you are not allowed to be folding or having the flashing out the money in flower bouquets. So unless you find an alternative, Of course, we have seen others coming up with other ways of doing it, but already the CPK gave an ultimatum, and to some extent, some people say that it is again to the boy child, but still now that there's an alternative that has been given out on page 19 of the Business Daily. Let's unlock and maybe see what is there, and that is where we wrap it up for the newspaper review this morning. Remember what we have seen from the Standard newspaper. It was that Ruto splashes millions, Kenyans stare at death. That is what has been given the headline on the Standard newspaper. Elsewhere is that the Unholy Alliance on the Daily Nation, talking about the governors and of course the senators, more so the Senate committee, checking on the governors on how they have been using the money, and of course they have been having claims between the two bosses, that is the county bosses and of course the senators. And elsewhere, today there is a meeting happening in Mombasa for the ODM party, and they are talking after the crisis that has been seen, that they are reviving the Azimio move. And elsewhere, the Star newspaper is that there is a plan, talking about the ODM, that there is a team that is aligned to the Oburu Oginga, who is the party leader for ODM, that there are plans that they might be kicking out Edwin Sifuna and to be replaced by Governor Otuoma. And elsewhere on the People's Daily, there is a beyond outreach, how the opposition move past moments to generate temporary political hit and craft in their own retirable grassroots narrative. That is the 2027 blueprint, talking about it. And then of course on Taifa Leo we show that there wanafunzi hewa walitafuna shilingi bilioni 5. Some of the stories that were making headlines on our daily newspapers, and of course that's where I'm taking a break. After all, I'll be back to go through the trending stories here and there, what is happening, and of course today from Migori County, we are expecting Governor Ochilo Ayako to be addressing the county on what he has done since he was in office, and of course it's majorly done to ensure it's similar to what the president does every year in parliament, to explain or talk to the common mwananchi, and of course to tell them what he has done or what he has not, or what he is planned to do. And that's what is expected today from the county government of Migori, and of course that will be able to get it later on, and of course update you on what's going. But for now, I'll be taking a quick break, and then I'll be back with the trending stories. Continue watching us or following us on our social media platforms, that is Ndizi TV Africa on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and of course Facebook as Ndizi TV Africa. And remember that we are live on both our Facebook and of course YouTube channels. You can be able to leave a comment there. Later on I will be going through your comments after the trending stories. Not forgetting, later on we'll be having to look at which game won their games yesterday, or which team won their games yesterday, and what are we expecting today and of course tomorrow up to the weekend. Don't go too far. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
each one of us, there is a dream. The challenge is how to achieve it. This journey will take inspiration, constant motivation, proper supervision, and strong connections. At Camel Park Training College, we know what makes your dreams come true. Now, all we need to begin in this journey is you. Enroll today in a variety of courses. Choose Camel Park Training College.
Naam, ni wakati wa kusikiza sauti inayobeba maono, busara na hali halisi ya kisiasa humu nchini. Karibu katika kipindi Sauti ya Uongozi. Hapa tutakuwa tunazungumza na viongozi kujieleza katika hali halisi ya yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya, na bila shaka kukupa wewe mtazamaji nafasi ya kuzungumza kama mwananchi wa kawaida kwa yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya katika maendeleo humu nchini.
But after making the payment, they delete it. Now, what kind of accounting is that? Because you are supposed to maintain the details of whoever you paid so that the figures can balance.
Watu ambao wanafanyiwa sio kwamba ni wale wananchi wote ambao wako pale wanafanyiwa ile funding, ni makundi haswa. Na zile pesa kufika katika makundi ikamfikia mwananchi yule ambaye alikuwa anachangiwa akapata kiasi kidogo cha pesa. Ina maana kule kuzurula, ule msururu wa kuzunguka inakuwa ni kama ni null and void kwa mwananchi, anaiona kwamba analagaiwa.
If you graduated in 2016 and somebody graduated in 2020, the 2016 was to be given priority to get that job. But nowadays, members of parliament have taken over. They get the letters, they dish them in funerals, others they sell them to the highest bidder.
Kila wiki tutakuletea mahojiano ya kina na viongozi kutoka sekta mbalimbali na jamii kwa ujumla. Je, unajiuliza maswali ni kipi ambacho kinajiri nyuma ya pasia la uongozi? Basi hapa ndipo unapaswa kukaa mkao wa kutazama na kusikiza. Usikose Sauti ya Uongozi kila siku ya Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1 jioni hadi saa 3 jioni ndani ya Ndizi TV Africa, nami Jeff Nyakundi. Sauti ya Uongozi. Tunazungumza, tunajenga, tunabadilika.
Black Market Records.
What's up my good people, it's your guy Aleka Alex. Na nitakuwa nikiwaletea show moto, show fire, show konki, show mambo bad ndani ya rininga yako number 1 Ndizi TV Africa. Tune in every Monday to Friday as from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Usikose, hii na itakuwa kari. Kuja tupige dance, tupige gossip, tupige gumzo. Au see.
Kanogo masonsesi, ofumi tabu fumi santi masonsesi. Kugambe masonsesi, oh Zambe.
Tune in every Monday to Friday as from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Kuja tukule doba, kuja tucheze doba, kuja tupige dance, tupige gossip gumzo. Hii itakuwa kari, au sio? Awo. Don't miss.
steer your future in the right direction. Safe driving starts here. Camel Park Driving School, now ready to quench your driving thirst. We offer NTSA certified driving lessons for upgrading, beginners, and refreshers. Our team of qualified instructors deliver content for the following classes: A1, A2, B1, B2, C, C1 and C2, D1 and the rest. We train learners with modern vehicles which fit the evolving digital world. Why choose Camel Park Driving School? We are situated within a serene environment which offers a humble space of study. Our classes are fitted with advanced materials which supports learning. Other benefits are flexible class schedule, pocket-friendly fees, proper theory and practical guide, annual operation and additional computer packages training. Spend less, learn more, drive forever. Apply now. For more information, call us on or SMS us on 0755 386 594 or 0753 915 354, or you can email us on camelcollege@gmail.com, or also you can visit our offices at Kiogoro, which is 5 kilometers from Kisii town along Kisii-Kilgoris Road. Camel Park Driving School, shaping dreams on the wheels.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
Alright, welcome again as we continue informing you more on the trending stories here and there on what is happening in the country. And of course, I'll be going through some of the comments depending or regarding the stories that we have told you about. And of course, when we were doing the newspaper review this morning. And as we start, there is a lot of insinuations here and there, and of course there is a lot of expectations from the meeting that will be held today at Mombasa County, led by the ODM party leader Oburu Odinga, And of course, they have called for a NEC meeting, that is a National Executive that is Council, and then they will be doing their meeting in Mombasa. And of course, there have been insinuations that there might be some members who will be outside from the party, more so the current Secretary General Edwin Sifuna of ODM. And before we get into that, first of all, yesterday in Nakuru County, the opposition, some part of the opposition leaders, that is the deputy party leader for Jubilee, Fred Okengo Matiang'i, a doctor, they opened their offices in that region, that is, will be serving some part of the north, that is the Rift Valley region, so in Nakuru and its environs there. And of course, there is what the senator for Kisii, Richard Onyonka, mentioned out. And of course, he said that he has announced the plans to exit ODM party, and he might be joining Jubilee party. And on Saturday, he was part of the team that was at actually on Sunday, he was part of the team that was in Busia County, that was led by Edwin Sifuna, Oburu, and of course James Orengo, and Godfrey Ososi, and other leaders that have been seen not singing the broad-based government. And of course, those are the two factions of the ODM. One led by Oburu Odinga, that is supporting the current regime, and of course the broad-based government, and the other one supporting, and the other one not supporting the broad-based government, and saying that the former party leader, the late leader Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, that he didn't instruct them to be part of the broad-based government, as they are saying. That is getting from the points they speak, and of course what they do say. Now, I want us to hear from what Senator for Kisii County, Onyonka, Richard, mentioned about exiting the party, that is the ODM party, and joining Jubilee. And later on, I will read some of the comments regarding what he mentioned, and of course what the common Mwananchi and of course our fans have mentioned about it. Let's just have a look at what he said, Richard Onyonka, during the launch of the Jubilee party offices in Nakuru.
Sitachukua muda mrefu sana kwa sababu hatuna wakati. Mimi nimekuja hapa kama yule anakuja kushuhudia chama cha Jubilee mnafanya nini, kwa sababu mimi niko opposition na nyinyi mko opposition. Kwa wale ambao hamnijui, mimi ni senator wa Kisii ambaye alichaguliwa na ODM. Lakini hivi karibuni mimi naingia Jubilee. Na tumesema hawatauza chama ya Paba. So hiyo waachia sisi tutamanage. Now, nitasema vitu viwili tu. For Your Excellency, I'll start with Honorable Kioni. Honorable Kioni, I want you to listen to me. When you started the Jubilee story, I did not take you seriously. But you had a vision and you had a dream with this party. I want to thank you. Because if you were not there, this party would not have been anything. Your Excellency Fred Matiang'i, as you know, you are my friend and my brother. I want to say one thing about you. Kwa wale ambao mko hapa, hakuna mtu ambaye utafanya rais wa nchi ya Kenya ambaye atafanya kazi ya kufurahisha kama huyu jamaa yuko hapa. Tumeelewana? The reason why, si mnanijua mimi? Me, I don't take bullshit. Kwa sababu, the reason why I looked and considered that Fred Matiang'i is a good presidential candidate is because of his record. Number two, Fred Matiang'i will disagree with you, but you don't become enemies. Kama mjui, mimi wakati nilikuwa mbunge na yeye akiwa waziri wa Uhuru, tulikuwa na korofishana kila mwezi. Lakini ananipigia anasema, bro, I know we disagreed. Ebu come, I hear what you're saying. So, Your Excellency, keep up the good spirit. Listen to everybody. These people are going, some will be fighting for you, some will be fighting over you, some will be fighting against you, but keep your eye on the ball. Finally, wale mnaosimama kura MCA, msisahau people with disability. Msisahau kina mama. You know, the men, when we are in office, we keep on selecting ourselves. And finally, I want to say, mimi kazi yangu nitafanya na nyinyi wakati tumeanza campaign proper. Nitakuje niwaambie here, you are not going to become a member of parliament, an MCA, or even indeed our presidential candidate because he wants to go and steal more land, he steals more money, he eats money from SHA, he takes over everything, he flies in helicopters. Honorable Fred, keep on using your small cars around here. Wachana na mambo ya ndege. So nikimaliza nasema mahali tunaenda, Mungu awabariki, mfanye kazi nzuri, and I'll tell you this. Nasikia mtu anauliza ati Jubilee, nasikia mnasema Jubilee. Mbona mnasema hivyo? Nitapiga nisikie vile mna respond, si ndio? Jubilee! Jubilee! Thank you.
All right, those are the sentiments made by the ODM chosen leader and senator from Kisii County, Richard Momoima Onyonga, and he has stated categorically that he will be joining Jubilee Party, maybe in a few days to come. And of course, yesterday, there is one of the stories that was published on Taifa Leo talking about when one wants to get out of the party, what you need to do. That you need to resign and then recontest again the seat. Of course, in a by-election, then if you win or you contest with the party that you have joined. But that is what we have been seeing other parties do, and of course other politicians do in the country, and there is nothing that is being done to them. But now, there are some of the comments regarding on what Senator Onyonga has just mentioned, that Ahoro mentioned yesterday. And here, there is one, anajulikana kama Alex Mulombi, on anasema kwamba these are the people who accompanied the likes of Sifuna, Babu Wino, and James Orengo, juzi pale Busia, claiming they are ideal ODM members and they would not allow it death, driving the move Linda Mwananchi. And now see, he has mentioned to leave the party to join Jubilee. How is ODM not going to die? That's one of the fans on social media. And of course, there is David Oduor saying that in every election, Onyonga always joins a new political party. Tumekuzoea kuhamahama. Another one here saying that a tactical political survival move, the Matiang'i wave in Gusiland won't sweep half-assedly. This is a strategic positioning. You are doing well, bro. That is John Moguma saying that. And of course, Hezbon Mochama is saying that he quit a long time ago. Alafu hawa ndio mnasema wako ODM na kina Sifuna, yet they sell different parties. Of course, those are some of the comments that I just sampled from what I've seen people talk about when these politicians speak out. Remember, of course, why? You are leaving your home for another one. Of course, you know why. And normally I do say, more so in our program, Sauti ya Uongozi, we normally talk about the political interests. Somebody will just get into a certain party because of what he feels is going to get from that party, or the position he feels is going to fill in, and what will be the gains in there. That is what they look at, and then they can make a decision, am I moving or not? And that is a strategic positioning, as one of the fans just mentioned. Elsewhere, still in the politics, of course, the self-proclaimed Raila Odinga's adopted son, Okechi Salah, yesterday delivered 3 million to comrades as he had promised. Remember, last week he had a meeting with the comrades, and after that meeting, it was seen that the comrades were against him after they realized that there was nothing that they were given or they were going to be given. But he promised that he was going to get back and, of course, give something. And yesterday, he delivered 3 million. That was mentioned. Some cash is from the current regime or the current president and the friends of Okechi Salah. Let's have a look at what happened and after the money was received, and what some of these comrades mentioned during the time they were receiving the 3 million shillings. Listen.
Thank you very much, members of the Fourth Estate, members of the press. I'm very grateful today as the chairman of this steering committee. I, as Okech Solomon Aira, on behalf of the team, want to appreciate Okech Salah and Oginga and Jaoko and the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Samoei Okello Ruto. Thank you very much for providing for comrades 3 million as promised on our 6-day event. And what I want to say today is that comrades will not only eat chicken, but eat 2 chickens, sleep, and wake up again and sleep again. Comrades, power! Comrades, tuta.
All right, that is the statement made by the said chairperson of the comrades. And after the receiving of that money, of course, he had categorically mentioned how it came from Okech Salah and other from the current president, that is William Samoei Ruto, to the comrades there. And some few comments and messages for the same, as I did in the Nyonga's clip. And here, some of the common mwananchi or the fans are just asking some questions and others are complimenting. One is that John Kebati anasema kwamba, what is the source of the money? Which purpose is it meant for? How did he acquire it? Which business does Salah do that enables him to splash such an amount freely? You know, the common questions that you can even yourself ask yourself, because maybe Okech Salah is not known well in their political moves here and there, is not known well in businesses or in the businesses that he runs, and other things that he is not known about. But the question is, how did he get money? Of course, the directors that you can get, some of them were donated by the president, as it has been mentioned in the clip. Elsewhere, David Oduor is saying that I heard that Salah also has his own ODM. Is it true? And even here, I can be able to see Evans Ondieki saying that Nangapi Sifuna ametoa. Sifuna is just overrated. Pesa na opportunities muhimu majama. Don't be blindfolded na watu na watu ambao wana support either 1 term or 2 term for their own interests. Then I can be able to see here Virginia Kamau saying that wewe Salah wewe, you know what happened to the former ODM party leader, and you categorically stated that you were with him later on to be dismissed by the family member, that is Win Odinga. And those are some of the comments. And lastly, there is one here, Otiende Abiku Patrick saying that hii pesa watu wanatoanga wapi na kupeana bure, hata mimi nataka kujua. And Peter Rira saying that the moment you hear president being mentioned in the same sentence with Salah, just know that it is money gotten out of him, and either the money was meant to do some development, but it has not been done. Then lastly, Edu Mwathe saying that ODM imegawanywa vipande vine, kama the likes of Gladys, Junet Mohamed, Oburu wameenda na saidi moja, Sifuna Babu na Ososi, Orengo na wameenda na pande nyingine. Sasa wengine wamebaki tu kwa umbali wakiangalia na hawajui ni kipi wakifanya pale. Some of the comments there. And of course, as we still move on with the trending stories, now getting to something that we have had the governors and the senators are complaining of, actually more so the senators, the governors are complaining about, that they are being exhorted and of course disrespected in front of the Public Accounts Committee, that is in the Senate. There is some statement that was made yesterday in Parliament by the Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, and he categorically mentioned, and he was very furious whenever he was mentioning this, saying that the funds are meant to do development in the counties. But some of the county governors, they have decided to do their own things, and whenever they are being questioned to give the accountability on how they use the money, they don't want to. Then they are sketching Vipindi and saying that they are being exhorted and of course requested to pay some of the bribes to the senators for them for the members of the committee to be lenient to them. Let's hear what Senator Edwin Sifuna when he was fuming, if we can use that, in the give or the background of the Public Accounts Committee, summons of the governors accused them of bribery and political blackmail. Let's hear what Senator Edwin Sifuna has said.
Honorable Speaker, I want to give this House background of all this drama that you are hearing. Honorable Speaker, we have a deadline of 31st of March as the Public Accounts Committee to consider all reports. We went to the extent of using resources for this House to publish a list and an invitation to all the county entities to come and appear before us so that they can account for the money that we gave them. Honorable Speaker, when people come before that committee, they are expected to be asked questions and they have to have the right answers. Would you believe it, Honorable Speaker? A county entity comes to the Senate Public Accounts Committee and tells us that the money we have given them for building industrial parks, somebody took 10 million from that kitty and went and held a border event. Then they say we are embarrassing them. Honorable Speaker, Bungoma County came to the Senate Public Accounts Committee and told us that there was somebody who took 4 million shillings to finance our Christmas tree lighting. Speaker, and we are expected to just paper over such issues. Another one came and told us they spent 5 million shillings in Vihiga County for housewarming after for the Speaker's house. And then they come and complain and say that we are embarrassing them.
All right, you have heard the statement made by Edwin Sifuna in Parliament yesterday. And here, of course, you can hear from the tone and, of course, the way he's speaking is somebody who is very furious with some of the statements made by the county bosses. And, of course, some of the comments here. There are people who are also blaming Edwin Sifuna that in one way or the other, they have been involved in cleansing and saying that other governors have done nothing, have not used money in a wrong way, and they are accountable for every coin. And here, if I can be able to read this, that Marco Bonyo Senior saying that kwanza yeye Sifuna ndiye aliosha gavana Guyo na anachifanya mtakatifu. We know what happened with the governor of Nyamira County when he was being taken for an impeachment motion at the Senate Parliament, and what happened there. Is there any difference between the two? That is cleansing Governor Guyo and as well as saying that the governor for Nyamira County has no questions to answer before the Senate. And of course, since that there's nothing that has happened. And of course, last week, the governor for Nyamira County appeared before the Senate to explain, that is the account committee for the Senate, to explain how he has used the public fund that was given to him. And he didn't even know the records and even didn't know some of the people who signed the documents and how the money was being used. And that is another thing that is showing that that maybe these senators, they might be corrupt, or they might be asking for some money from these governors, or they have been given out. And elsewhere, I can be able to see Tieno Joash saying that sasa mtafanya namna gani maseneta? Do you share the politics that mnacheza? Tunazifahamu vizuri, kila mtu na interest yake pale. And then here I can be able to see Professor Dan Daniel saying that tomorrow will be his day. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. And of course, elsewhere, of course, just sampling a view. I cannot read everything. Here, Evans Fuaga Ondieki saying that amesaidia nini common mwananchi? Leave alone sisi kwa sisi, or supporting local talents. And of course, there is nothing we are gaining from both the senators and the governors. Wacha tu tusimamie sisi kwa sisi, tuchipiganie sisi wenyewe. Some of the comments that I'm seeing from what they have mentioned. And of course, earlier on I had mentioned that yesterday, the ODM party leader, Dr. Oburu Odinga, landed in Mombasa with other leaders, including the deputy party leaders of the ODM party, that is including the Governor Abnasil of Mombasa County. And of course, they're having an ODM NEC meeting today. And they will be able to do 3 tours at the coast, and this comes after, this is coming after the split into 2 factions. That is one backing President William Samoei Ruto's re-election, and the other is strongly opposing it. And the other faction is led by Edwin Sifuna, who is the Secretary General. And of course, we saw their meeting that was that happened in Busia last Sunday. And of course, the other faction is led by Oburu Odinga himself. And we are waiting to see what is going to come out from that meeting today. And from the Star newspaper, they report that what there is that there might be somebody to be kicked out, and the Secretary General post might be given to Governor Otuma, as per the Star newspaper that we saw earlier on today. And we are waiting to see what is going to happen from that meeting, what will be the resolutions of that meeting. And once this comes out, we'll be able to let you know, and of course inform you to understand, and of course to know the status of politics in ODM and of course our country. Elsewhere, of course, we saw earlier on regarding the Council of Governors Chair Ahmed Abdullahi that he has written to the Senate Speaker Amason Kingi, seeking an urgent meeting to address the governors' concerns and present the evidence of alleged extortion claims. And of course, if they will be allowed to have that meeting, remember they say that they are going to unmask and give the names of the 4 senators who are said to be asking or extorting the governors, and of course asking at least $500,000 for them to be lenient in that committee whenever these governors are appearing before them. And elsewhere, before we get to other trending stories, let's get to what happened yesterday. That is when the president and of course other members of the country and of course business, including the Nairobi Securities Exchange, they launched the CD partnership and of course the CD trader, that is using the Safaricom app in what we call shareholder selling. And of course there is what some the CS Treasury John Mbadi mentioned, and he mentioned, of course, the clip you're going to play it in a few seconds, that when I meet the police officers, they are very happy with us. The teachers earning 30,000 and below are very excited with the economy. This is coming from the statements that they made from last week and the other week, that whoever who is gaining or who is earning 30,000 and below will be exempted from taxes, and whoever who is earning 50%, that is 50,000 Kenyan shillings, will be exempted will be exempted 5%, and instead of 30% tax, then it will be 25%. And will be exempted 5%. Let's hear what John Mbadi mentioned yesterday regarding the police officers and the teachers, saying that the police officers are happy that they are not going to be taxed anymore. Let's have a look at it.
We have been told a number of times, kindly put money in people's pockets, that the purchasing power of people has dwindled. Now, when we say, looking at our population, looking at those who are employed, we go for those who are at the lower cadre, because you campaigned on the platform of bottom-up economic transformation agenda. I was not with you in that, but I am now a student of that, and I've learned very well. I understand the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Now, those who are earning 30,000 and below, we are saying should pay 0 tax. And by the way, it is not just those who are earning 30,000 and below. Any money that you earn, which is 30,000 and below, even if you are earning $1 million, your 30,000 will also not be taxed. And then someone says that is not good enough. Look at how much that 6,000 from 24,000, which is not attracting tax today, to 30,000 is 6,000. Tax on 6,000 was 25%, a quarter of it, 1,500. Then someone is saying that is nothing. It is nothing to you because you're earning $1 million. But the person who is earning 30,000, it is a lot to give back that person 1,500. So wacha madarau, wacha kudarau hao watu. They feel it, and by the way, when I meet police officers, they are very happy. They are very excited with us, Your Excellency. The teachers who are earning 30,000 are very excited. And we have even gone a step further to propose that even the next 20,000, instead of taxing it at 30%, we tax it at 25%. That is another 5% off. That's another 1,000 shillings. It is nothing to you because your lunch is 10,000. But that person who survives on 6,000 per week, adding them 2,000, 3,000 is a lot of money. And that is what we intend to do. We want to give money to people who want to, we think if they get that money, it will make a difference.
All right, we have heard what the CS Treasury, Johnny Mbadi, has just mentioned there. And of course, maybe I've sampled out some of the comments and I would like to go through them quickly. Is that there is one Clinton Odada. Clinton Odada is asking some question here, saying that who are these police officers who are happy with you? Tell me at least a good number. Justice hapa, we are not happy with the government. And elsewhere, Morgan Chiti Julius is saying that hata wewe CS uanze kulipwa 30K, then let's see the excitement you are talking about. Eric Mboya saying that you should also earn 30K and be happy like them. And elsewhere, I can be able to see Abraham Livingston Matata. What about the common man in the industrial area? What is he going to gain? Is he going to be exempted from the taxes you are mentioning? Or nothing is going to happen? That is Abraham Livingston Atata. Then Daniel Mutunga is saying that arafu 2027 kiburi ianze kupanda tena mutugeuke. Mimi kidogo si kubaliani na wewe CS. That is from Daniel Mutungu. Steve Kioko saying that which purchasing power are you speaking about? We don't know it. Maybe you explain more. Robert Mumanyi saying that Mheshimiwa, please, Mheshimiwa John, at times just keep quiet, let the silence talk, and let's see the actions, not everything that you're supposed to talk about. And then lastly, we are having Johnny Mudeu and Mark Kiplagat. Johnny Mudeu is saying that putting money in the pocket or taking the little they have from them. And elsewhere, Mark Kiplagat is asking, will you be happy if paid 30K as a CS Finance? These are some of the comments here and there concerning the statements that made by the CS Treasury during the launch of the shareholders using the the phone or buying and selling shareholders using Safaricom. And maybe as we continue, there is something that I've been making follow-ups and of course seeing the updates quickly on what is happening. And of course, remember, I had already mentioned from the Star newspaper, they reported that maybe Edwin Sifuna will be kicked out today from the NEC meeting that has been called and which is happening today in Mombasa. And probably, here is another update that the ODM is bracing for a potential 10th National Executive Council meeting today amid fears it could be used to discipline or expel senior party officials. The meeting will also resolve internal disputes and of course the pre-election pact with the UDA and of course the future Secretary General Edwin Sifuna. A close ODM source reveals plans to kick out Edwin Sifuna and replace him with Busia Governor Paul Otuoma as the Secretary General. And of course, it's something that we are waiting and see. You know, in politics, they do say there is, of course, there will be some rumors, but sometimes some rumors are exactly what has been already decided. And let's wait and see what is going to happen. And elsewhere is that as much as we have been seeing stories trending on social media, that after what President William Samoei Ruto spoke on Sunday, more so in helping Nairobi County to clean and of course ensure that there is no garbage within or within the city. And of course, the governor, and actually some people thought that some of the functions from the county government will be taken away to the national government. But this is what Governor for Nairobi, Johnson Sakaja, has mentioned. He has mentioned that, or he has dismissed that the claims that are ongoing, that Nairobi County transferred the key functions to the national government, terming the reports fake. His response followed by the report that was aired in one of the national TVs in the country that alleges that Sakaja signed an agreement with the President William Ruto to hand over services such as garbage collection, public works, road construction, and water supply. He insists no roles, including garbage collection, roads, and water services, has been ceded. So saying that whatever was aired and whatever was that has been trending on social media has nothing to do with the changes, and it has nothing to do with the fact, and the fact remains that there is nothing that has been shared with the national government, that has been transferred to the national government. And maybe to go through, and so those are some of the trending stories that we have managed to gather and of course inform you about. But before I crown up the show this morning, I will have to go through the comments. I can be able to see Metrin Havere, aka Sifa from Nakuru, saying that watching live on your social media, hapa Nakuru tuko salama, just enjoying the updates that you are giving us from the newspaper review and of course the trending stories. Thank you so much, Metrin Havere, aka Sifa. And elsewhere, let me just have a look at the comments that you have sent via our Facebook, our SMS number. I can be able to see here. Christopher Tandi saying that watching live from Boranki Kenyambi with his wife Lydia Kerubo, his sons and daughter Sheila Matiangi Muranga Mikae, and his mother and father Muranga pamoja ndani hadi tamati. Have a lovely day, all Ndizi TV fans. Thank you so much. Sheila Kemunto normally follows from Nairobi, but today is saying that she's following from Emunga Kiamo Kama, well represented. Thank you, Sheila Kemunto, for following up and of course watching in Ndizi TV Africa from wherever you are. Elsewhere, I can be able to see Minyo Yaumbu asking, what about those people who have no work? Will they be exempted from the tax collection? You know, that is a question I think is regarded to the CS and what he was mentioning about. All right, moving further, maybe have a look at the YouTube, and on YouTube there, of course, right, I can be able to see some of those who are following there. I can be able to see Ian Karanja saying that they're following you, and thank you for the updates, and that is okay. And those are some of the comments that I've managed to go through them, and I will say that there's a lot that is happening. And of course, I mentioned that today the county, or the governor for Migori County, Ochila Yako, will be addressing the county assembly on what he has done since he has been in office, the projects that have been completed, the ones that have not been completed, and what the Migori people will be expecting. And maybe by tomorrow be having that complete report, because that address will be done today in the afternoon. And we are waiting to see how it will be done, and of course what we will be saying, and of course our reporter from that area, Lennox Odede, will be packaging it for us and will be able to bring it to you. Elsewhere, as I crown up, as I crown the morning show, is that from Nyamira County, of course yesterday I mentioned that the Member of Parliament from the 4 constituencies of Nyamira, that is West Mogrango, North Mogrango, Kitutu Masaba, and the Borabu constituency, they were going around checking on the national government projects, and of course the project piloted by or done by National Government Constituency Development Fund. And of course yesterday that is on Monday, and of course the good part of yesterday, the area members of parliament inspected an inspection tour ongoing on the Kuwait government-funded projects in various schools across the constituencies, and to be specific, in Kitutu Masaba constituency, the area member of parliament says that the institution visited Wakiabira Primary School, that is in Kemera Ward, Kenani Comprehensive School, that is in Gachuba Ward, Riabe Secondary School in Rigoma Ward, Gekia Secondary School, that is found in Magombo Ward, and of course in Nyantaro Primary School in Gesima Ward, in Gesima, and all of which are beneficiaries of the Kuwait government grant. In total, 14 schools are benefiting from 170 million projects, and the projects are ongoing. For example, in Magombo Ward, that is Geke Secondary Schools, we have seen the building or the stalls that have been ongoing there. That's almost being done. And they assessed the progress achieved so far and noted that the challenges encountered during the implementation, the contractor who failed to meet the expected standards or timelines will have their contract terminated. That is as per the Member of Parliament Kitutu Masaba Krivo Mpane Gisairo. And the inspection exercise, which commenced on Monday, also covered Borabu constituency, West Mugrango, and of course North Mugrango constituencies. Similar projects are currently underway at Nyachichi Secondary School, that is in Kemera Ward, Nyasumi Secondary School in Gachuba Ward, Gesure ELCK in Manga Ward, Mokomoni Secondary School in Magombo Ward, Sungututa Primary in Gesima, and of course Kenyerere Primary School in Rigoma Ward, Tombe Secondary School, Manga, that is Tombe Mixed, and Nyabigege Secondary School in Gachuba, and Masobet Primary School in Gesima Ward. That is an update on what has been happening in Nyamira County, and of course the elected member of parliament, despite their political stance, of course for the first time I've just seen them working together, checking on the project that are supposed to be done by the national government, and of course the Kuwait government, that's the grant that was given over 170 million projects, and of course checking on the progress. And of course here I've had that Bwana Engoko, as he is known, that is the MP for Kitutu Masaba, Kalisi Mpane Gisairo, saying that if the contractor is failing to do what is expected, then the contract will be terminated and of course given to another person who can be able to do it. And coming to an end, just reminding you that today in the evening at the Kikao Chandizi, we'll be having a guest, that is Mzee Obino Nyambane, and we'll be talking about the Mila Desturi na Vijana wa Sasa, that is talking about the culture and how the Gen Zs and the young people are taking it. And it will be done in Swahili so that we can be able to get more, and if it needs for us to have to fix 1, 2, 3 local local names, we'll be able to do it. And keep following DZTV Africa. And that is something that we'll be doing as from 6:30 in the evening today up to 8:30 in the evening. So don't miss it out, as we'll be able to be that is informing you, educating you, and of course entertaining you today. So far, that is it from me here, and of course my director Lucas Ouma, who has been ensuring that you are getting the sound is okay, the graphics are okay, and of course the pictures are also okay. We say thanks to our producer and of course director. And thank you, our viewer who has been following in DZTV Africa since we started our morning bus show up to this moment. And of course, that's where I end it up. My name is Jeff Nyakundi. And of course, we will be having other programs coming up. That is the Safe Drive with Isaac Nyahondo, the program that is informing you on the safety driving on the roads, and of course how to use both the pedestrians, the cyclists, those who are the motorbike riders, and of course the drivers of both matatus and what we call the private vehicles, and of course the transport sector entirely. We'll be having that in a few minutes from now. Of course, bye-bye for now. Have a lovely day. Let's meet at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. at Kikao cha Ndizi. Usiende mbali, endelea kufuatilia Ndizi TV Africa katika mitandao yetu yote. Bye-bye. Have a lovely day.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake parts kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
Each one of us, there is a dream. The challenge is how to achieve it. This journey will take inspiration, constant motivation, proper supervision, and strong connections. At Camel Park Training College, we know what makes your dreams come true. Now, all we need to begin in this journey is you. Enroll today in a variety of courses. Choose Camel Park Training College.
Naam, ni wakati wa kusikiza sauti inayobeba maono, busara na hali halisi ya kisiasa humu nchini. Karibu katika kipindi Sauti ya Uongozi. Hapa tutakuwa tunazungumza na viongozi kujieleza katika hali halisi ya yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya, na bila shaka kukupa wewe mtazamaji nafasi ya kuzungumza kama mwananchi wa kawaida kwa yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya katika maendeleo humu nchini.
But after making the payment, they delete it. Now, what kind of accounting is that? Because you are supposed to maintain the details of whoever you paid so that the figures can balance.
Watu ambao wanafanyiwa sio kwamba ni wale wananchi wote ambao wako pale wanafanyiwa ile funding, ni makundi haswa. Na zile pesa kufika katika makundi ikamfikia mwananchi yule ambaye alikuwa anachangiwa akapata kiasi kidogo cha pesa. Ina maana kule kuzurula, ule msururu wa kuzunguka inakuwa ni kama ni null and void kwa mwananchi, anaiona kwamba analagaiwa.
If you graduated in 2016 and somebody graduated in 2020, the 2016 was to be given priority to get that job. But nowadays, members of parliament have taken over. They get the letters, they dish them in funerals, others they sell them to the highest bidder.
Kila wiki tutakuletea mahojiano ya kina na viongozi kutoka sekta mbalimbali na jamii kwa ujumla. Je, unajiuliza maswali ni kipi ambacho kinajiri nyuma ya pasia la uongozi? Basi Hapa ndipo unapaswa kukaa, mkao wa kutazama na kusikiza. Usikose Sauti ya Uongozi kila siku ya Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1 jioni hadi saa 3 jioni. Ndani ya Ndizi TV Africa, nami Jeff Nyakundi. Sauti ya Uongozi. Tunazungumza, tunajenga, tunabadilika.
Black Market Records.
What's up my good people, it's your guy Aleka Alex. Na nitakuwa nikiwaletea show moto, show fire, show konki, show mambo bad ndani ya rininga yako number 1 Ndizi TV Africa. Tune in every Monday to Friday as from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Usikose, hii na itakuwa kari. Kuja tupige dance, tupige gossip, tupige gumzo. Au sio?
Kanogo masonsesi ofumita bufumi sati masonsesi kugambe masonsesi oh Zambi.
Tune in every Monday to Friday as from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Kuja tukule doba, kuja tucheze doba, kuja tupige dance, tupige gossip gumzo. Hii itakuwa kari, au sio? Awo. Don't miss.
Steer your future in the right direction. Safe driving starts here. Camel Park Driving School, now ready to quench your driving thirst. We offer NTSA certified driving lessons for upgrading, beginners, and refreshers. Our team of qualified instructors deliver content for the following classes: A1, A2, B1, B2, C, C1 and C2, D1 and the rest. We train learners with modern vehicles which fit the evolving digital world. Why choose Camel Park Driving School? We are situated within a serene environment which offers a humble space of study. Our classes are fitted with advanced materials which supports learning. Other benefits are flexible class schedule, pocket-friendly fees, proper theory and practical guide, annual operation and additional computer packages training. Spend less, learn more. Drive forever. Apply now. For more information, call us on or SMS us on 0755 386 594 or 0753 915 354, or you can email us on camelcollege@gmail.com, or also you can visit our offices at Kiogoro, which is 5 kilometers from Kisii town along Kisii-Kilgoris Road. Camel Park Driving School, shaping dreams on the wheels.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
Each one of us, there is a dream. The challenge is how to achieve it. This journey will take inspiration, constant motivation, proper supervision, and strong connections. At Camel Park Training College, we know what makes your dreams come true. Now, all we need to begin in this journey is you. Enroll today in a variety of courses. Choose Camel Park Training College.
Naam, ni wakati wa kusikiza sauti inayobeba maono, busara na hali halisi ya kisiasa humu nchini. Karibu katika kipindi Sauti ya Uongozi. Hapa tutakuwa tunazungumza na viongozi kujieleza katika hali halisi ya yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya, na bila shaka kukupa wewe mtazamaji nafasi ya kuzungumza kama mwananchi wa kawaida kwa yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya katika maendeleo humu nchini.
But after making the payment, they delete it. Now, what kind of accounting is that? Because you are supposed to maintain the details of whoever you paid so that the figures can balance.
Watu ambao wanafanyiwa sio kwamba ni wale wananchi wote ambao wako pale wanafanyiwa ile funding, ni makundi haswa. Na zile pesa kufika katika makundi ikamfikia mwananchi yule ambaye alikuwa anachangiwa akapata kiasi kidogo cha pesa. Ina maana kule kuzurula, ule msururu wa kuzunguka inakuwa ni kama ni null and void kwa mwananchi, anaiona kwamba analagaiwa.
If you graduated in 2016 and somebody graduated in 2020, the 2016 was to be given priority to get that job. But nowadays, members of parliament have taken over. They get the letters, they dish them in funerals, others they sell them to the highest bidder.
Kila wiki tutakuletea mahojiano ya kina na viongozi kutoka sekta mbalimbali na jamii kwa ujumla. Je, unajiuliza maswali ni kipi ambacho kinajiri nyuma ya pasia la uongozi? Basi hapa ndipo unapaswa kukaa mkao wa kutazama na kusikiza. Usikose Sauti ya Uongozi kila siku ya Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1 jioni hadi saa 3 jioni ndani ya Ndizi TV Africa, nami Jeff Nyakundi. Sauti ya Uongozi, tunazungumza, tunajenga, tunabadilika.
Black Market Records.
What's up my good people, it's your guy Aleka Alex na nitakuwa nikiwaletea show moto, show fire, show konki, show mambo bad ndani ya rininga yako number 1 DZTV Africa. Tune in every Monday to Friday as from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Usikose, hii na itakuwa kari. Kuja tupige dance, tupige gossip, tupige gumzo. Au sio?
Kanogo masonsesi ofumita bufumi sati masonsesi kugambe masonsesi oh Zambi.
Tune in every Monday to Friday as from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Kuja tukule doba, kuja tucheze doba, kuja tupige dance, tupige gossip gumzo. Hii itakuwa kari, au sio? Awo, don't miss.
Steer your future in the right direction. Safe driving starts here. Camel Park Driving School, now ready to quench your driving thirst. We offer NTSA certified driving lessons for upgrading, beginners, and refreshers. Our team of qualified instructors deliver content for the following classes: A1, A2, B1, B2, C, C1 and C2, D1 and the rest. We train learners with modern vehicles which fit the evolving digital world. Why choose Camel Park Driving School? We are situated within a serene environment which offers a humble space of study. Our classes are fitted with advanced materials which supports learning. Other benefits are flexible class schedule, pocket-friendly fees, proper theory and practical guide, annual operation and additional computer packages training. Spend less, learn more. Drive forever. Apply now. For more information, call us on or SMS us on 0755 386 594 or 0753 915 354, or you can email us on camelcollege@gmail.com, or also you can visit our offices at Kiogoro, which is 5 kilometers from Kisii town along Kisii Kirigos Road. Camel Park Driving School, shaping dreams on the wheels.